Hey, I'm Kev, Mr. Kev, and welcome to Stock Car Extreme. We're turning to the channel after quite a long time away, and we're finally showing off the car that the game is named after, the 2013 V8 stock car. And as you can see, we're Ricardo Zonta in a BMC machine, and we've got quite a heavy car here, 1,340 kilograms, but it's quite a fast machine as well, with 480 brake horsepower, plus 120 brake horsepower from the push to pass system that they have in the series. And we're driving around now, I apologise for saying this wrong, Goiânia circuit, otherwise known as the Autodromo Internacional Ayrton Senna, which is most famous for holding the Brazilian Grand Prix in MotoGP from 1987 to 1989, and will host a round of the 2014 Brazilian Formula 3 Championship, returning after 19 years away. And you'll never guess who won the last championship in 1995, Ricardo Zonta. As we look at the front of the grid, we're nowhere near the front of the grid though, 32nd out of 34 guys on the grid. It is packed, it is going to be chaotic, and we're against 85% strength AI, 25% AI aggression, and 50% damage multiplier, and we're right behind Luciano Berti, another ex-F1 racer. We'll get into the drivers and the championship as we progress in this video, but we're also going to be talking about the game as well once we get through these first few corners. As you can see, we're diving down the middle of the cars there into turn 1. Turn 2, there's just a bump before it, as you can see there, and so you've got to be careful with the power because it's very easy to spin out. Otherwise, we're very cautious through there as Bertie's down our inside into turn 3, which is normally flat out, but there's a car spinning in front of us and we had to avoid that. We're on the grass, there's no grip there, we're spinning as well, and we are rejoining the track, just avoiding that spinning car as well, but we're down to last place. This is going well on this first lap, but you're going to notice with the 85% strength AI, it's a bit slow for me on this track. After a couple of laps of practice, I was a bit faster than them. They're doing 27s, I can get into the 25s, maybe even the high 24s, and so yeah, I probably should turn it up next time I race around here. But 85% strength AI is good for places like Interlagos or the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, where, you know, I'm not as good against the AI around there, and so yeah, I've got to adjust it on certain tracks, on every track really. And I might adjust the aggression as well, because while they're good battling, they're one of the best AI around in a game. You know, they can battle hard and they give you room, they recognise you're there, sometimes not on the outside though, and so you've got to be careful then. But down the inside, yeah, they give you room, and perhaps on 25% strength AI or, you know, aggression side, it doesn't quite work out maybe, because it's a bit too easy to pass them. They're not battling hard enough, even though they do take a little look down your inside, but they're very easy to back off. So yeah, maybe I've got to adjust that for the next race as well. Maybe turn it up to 30% on the aggression side, as we've already caught up to the back of the field at the beginning of lap 2. And here we go through this flat out third corner where there are 10 right hand turns around here, only 5 left hand ones, and the car's spinning again. He's spinning again as we go into a tight right hand corner. And now this track actually does remind me of, say, Estoril in Europe, if you've driven that track and, you know, and you're familiar with that. You used to hold the Portuguese Grand Prix in F1, as we little tap on the inside of the AI there to go down his inside. But yeah, it reminds me of the Estoril track because it has all these fast sweeping corners, and the configuration as well, as you're going to see, it has this blind downhill left hand corner and then right hand corner, which is kind of familiar to their chicane in the middle of the circuit, where it actually goes uphill with a left hand and then a right hand. And so yeah, it just reminds me of Estoril, just a better version of Estoril actually. I don't really like the modern Estoril, I prefer the old faster Estoril from the 80s and the early 90s. But yeah, it's still a very good track, Estoril, and this is a very good track as well. As into this penultimate corner, we're always a bit faster than the AI, so you're going to see me doing lots of overtakes into that corner. But let's get into what we're going to talk about in this video, which is Stock Car Extreme, and I said the Brazilian Championship as well. So Stock Car Extreme, very good game, and they're upgrading it all the time, or updating it all the time. And this is version 1.15, which introduced the 1995 based F1 car, the Formula V12, and the Montreal track from the late 80s. And so there were great additions to the game. That V12 car is a very tough to handle car, and that Montreal track very unforgiving, as the AI make another mistake. Blocked the track there, but we managed to get through as we're behind Spare Fico. Apologise, I said that wrong, but we're but we're making up some places here. We're into 26th now. We're almost in the top 25. And for the next update, which was meant to be out at the beginning of this month, but it's been delayed due to them having some unseen difficulties with it. And once they've sorted that out, the update will be released. But in this update, they're going to be bringing 2 cars and 4 tracks from two different venues. So the 2 cars are going to be the Formula V car. It looks like it has like old suspension, old engine. It looks like a very difficult car to drive, but very fun as well. And they've been showing that off in videos from Niels, who's one of the physics guys at Risa, and someone else, I forget the developer's name, do apologise for that, but he showed it off around Interlagos as well. And they're bringing their 2014 F1 car, their interpretation of the 2014 F1 car. So it doesn't have wang noses at the front, it actually has a nice front end, and they actually look very good. But they haven't shown off any videos of that, just screenshots of it at the new tracks that are coming in the update as well. So there's going to be 4 tracks coming in this version 1.2 update, and that's going to be the modern Red Bull Ring, which F1 raced on this year, and the old Österreich Ring from the 70s, the fast and wonderful flowing Österreich Ring from the 70s, which was a great track to drive for F1 back then, but was deemed a bit too dangerous in the late 80s for F1. Has been adjusted to the modern day Red Bull Ring. There's also going to be the Buenos Aires track modern day version, which Neil showed the Formula V car off around. I'm going to link that in the description below. And the older Buenos Aires tracks, again a fast flowing circuit from the 70s, and so yeah, they're both going to be added to the game in the next update. And as a kind of apology, it seems, for missing their update to this game, Stock Car Extreme guys have, or Risa Studios, have released screenshots of a couple of new tracks they're working on as well for the game. The first one is Imola, which seems to be in every sim now. It's in Assetto Corsa, it's going to be in iRacing. And I don't know from what era it is, but they showed off a track map of it, and it looks it's just very interesting to have an Imola in the game, and I can't wait to say the Formula V12 car around that track. And last week they showed off the Kyalami circuit, not the modern day version, which I've just seen has actually been bought by Porsche South Africa, so it's not going to be turned into a housing development hopefully, and it's going to be retained as such, like a test track and a good track for South African motor racing championships. But yeah, not the modern day Kyalami circuit in South Africa, the old 70s circuit which F1 used to race on until the mid 80s. And yeah, the fast and short track it was is only just over a minute that time at the end of its tenure in the mid 80s with those turbo cars. So yeah, I can't wait to see that Kyalami track on the calendar. One of my favourites, especially from Grand Prix Legends back in the day. So yeah, can't wait to see that in-game Stock Car Extreme. So those are a couple of tracks coming, a couple of cars. There's also meant to be a Brazilian prototype car which they announced at the beginning of the year, which should hopefully be coming in the game soon as well after this update. And so yeah, they had loads of things. They're going to be upgrading the graphics, upgrading the textures, bringing in wet weather, I believe, and just upgrading and maximising the most out of this engine, which is the same engine that runs R Factor, I believe, the G Motor 2 engine, I think it is. So yeah, they're bringing out the maximum of that engine and bringing out the maximum of this game, not just bringing yearly updates. And they're going to be, of course, bringing in the 2014 Vake stock cars as well. So there's lots of stuff coming to this game for, well, the next few months at least, especially that version 1.2 update, which is meant to be coming soon. But yeah, that's Game Stock Car Extreme. If you haven't been catching up the news, I'll link everything in the description below. And yeah, I just can't wait to see all of these updates in the game, because as I say, it's one of the best out of the box sims that you can find. And of course there's always going to be mods about. As I said, it's got the same engine as R Factor, so yeah, you can find loads of mods for this game converted from R Factor. But we are driving in this stock car as Ricardo Zonta, and we're in the top 20 almost now in this 10-minute race. So it's around 8 laps, we're on lap 6, and we're going round the outside of the area there. Very nicely done, as we're just outside the top 20. Oh, we're in the top 20 now. So, and we got a few guys in front that we could maybe make some moves on in the next few laps, or the next lap. And so the Brazilian Stock Car Championship, if you didn't know about it, they do have the original Brazilian stock car in the game, the Opala stock car, and I think they're meant to be bringing a 80s version of that as well to the game as well. But I think that was just rumours, and I'm not sure if that's definitely coming. But it started in 1979, and since then, for the next 35 years, they evolved, and now they have these beasts. You know, as I said, 480 brake horsepower, 1,340 kilograms the weight of the cars, plus 120 brake horsepower with the push-to-pass system, which you're going to see me use a couple of times down the front straight, as you're about to see now. Look at this, getting past one, getting past two, getting past 3 cars down this straight onto the penultimate lap now, lap 7 of 8, as you can see on the left-hand side of the dash there, on the steering wheel. Of course, at the top you've got the gearing, and then you've also got the position out of how many cars there as well. And you've got my speed on the right hand side in the second column there on the steering wheel. And so we're up to 14th now out of 34, but we've got a bit of a gap in front, got over 4.5 seconds. So yeah, we've got to make that up. But the Brazilian Stock Car Championship, I said, 35 years old, and this season they've been racing at this track the last time out on the 1st of June, and they'll be returning to this track at the beginning of August for the next round of the championship. And last round was won by Thiago Camilo ahead of Rubens Barrichello, his best result of the season, so good to see from Rubens. And Julio Campos finished in 3rd on the podium in the last race round here. And this championship has gone through a bit of changes in recent times. They have a double points last race, sound familiar? They have Pirelli tyres, sound familiar? And their top team is Red Bull Racing. Yeah, it's really sounding familiar, isn't it? But this year they have Marcos Gomez leading the championship by 2 points from Fernando Brito, head of Abreu, I can't say his first name, Sergio Jimenez, and then Julio Campos. And further down you've got the likes of Kaká Breno, who's won the championship 5 times and is with that Red Bull Racing team, who lead the team's championship ahead of Shell Racing, who are both using Chevrolet cars. There's also Peugeot cars on the grid as well, so you've got 2 manufacturers to choose from. And Ricardo Santos in a Chevrolet car with BMC Racing this year, but it's called RZ Motorsports this year because they lost the BMC back, and so they went to the original team name. But Ricardo's onto ex-F1 driver. You're going to see a few of them on the grid. I said most experienced F1 driver of all, Rubens Barrichello, Luciano Berti, who used to drive for Jaguar and Prost in the early 2000s. Antonio Pizzoni is returning to the series this season after his season away, and he's a former Jaguar and Williams driver as well. And you've seen the likes of Bruno Senna and Jack Villeneuve even in 2011 kind of guest star in the series as well. So lots of experienced former F1 drivers in the series, former IndyCar drivers as well. You've got Anna Beatrix, who used to be in IndyCar from 2010 to last year. Rafael Matos, who won the 2008 Indy Lights Championship. He was in IndyCar from 2009 to 2011. Vitor Meiro was in IndyCar until 2011. He raced in the series in 2012 and racing the first round this year. And so yeah, you've got loads of ex-IndyCar drivers, loads of ex-kart drivers as well. The Specifico that I saw earlier, he used to drive in kart along with his twin brother Ricardo, and their cousins as well used to race in America as well. So yeah, you got lots of experienced guys here. You've even got Kaká Breno, who drives in GT3 this season in Europe in the Blanche Pan series. He's got a few podiums in that, and as I said, he's won the title 5 times. And the reigning champion is Ricardo Mauricio, and as you can see, we have finished in 14th, and we're trying to make it back to the pits. As you can see, the full lights on, so we're really pushing back. But Ricardo Mauricio is the reigning champ, his second championship after winning in 2008. And so yeah, the Brazilian championship has loads of experience here. Most of these are kind of stock car guys who have been in it for a few seasons, but as I said, you've got the ex-F1 drivers, ex-open wheel drivers, and yeah, almost all Brazilian grid as well. So it's a very interesting series, very competitive series, and these cars are just great fun to drive in this game as well. And as you can see, we're really struggling to make it back now. We're losing some speed, and as I said, there I am in the bottom doing the 25.7. Yeah, I call myself Kevinho. Joke now. But the AI, as I said, I think the fastest lap they did was a 27.2. So yeah, 1.5 seconds faster this race. We really do need to adjust that. But that's a bit about the Stock Car Brazilian Championship this year, and seasons past, just explaining it a bit. Their most successful driver has won 12 championships, Indigo Hoffman, who's won over 100 races as well. An incredible driver who drove from 1979 to 2008, so over 30 years. And he was an ex-F1 driver as well, with Fittipaldi in the mid-70s. So yeah, that's Game Stock Car Extreme. That's Brazilian Stock Car Championship. I hope you enjoyed this live watching, and I'll see you next time.